crack however many eggs that you'd like. I usually do 6 and then separate them with whatever method you like. And then I usually remove the calazi out of the whites because I don't like to leave those behind. And 6 eggs usually gives me 180 grams of whites, and then I'll measure out that exact same amount for the granulated sugar, and then whisk that in a Pyrex measuring cup, and then it's ready to go in the microwave. Once it's all whisked, I put it in the microwave for 2 minutes at 70% power, and then I whisk it every 30 seconds. And then after that comes out, I will give it a final whisk before I start whipping those egg whites. You can see the foaminess at the top. That's how I know it's good to go and at a good temperature. Sometimes you'll get a little piece of egg white that starts to cook, but it's very soft and it'll whisk right back in, and I don't even bother straining it. And it's usually just a little piece, if any. The temperature that this reaches is about 145 degrees Fahrenheit. I used to cook this a lot higher when I would do it on the stove, closer to the temperature for Swiss meringue buttercream, around 160 to 175. But since doing the microwave method, I have switched down to a lower temp, closer to what Swiss mac should be. The recommended 130, I just go a little higher with 145. For the powdered sugar, I will take whatever my egg white weight was and multiply by 1.2. So 180 grams times 1.2. And for the almond flour, I will take the weight of the egg whites and I will multiply them by 1.3. So 180 times 1.3. I usually do a little bit of rounding and do the math in my head, but you can use a calculator if you want to. Or you can use Michelle's Macarons recipe, which is based on the Latteray. Either one of those, just look them up and get those ratios, and then you can use those instead. Then I take my whisk and I mix up my powdered sugar and the almond flour, and I don't sift with a sifter quite yet. I just wait to do that before I mix my dry ingredients with my meringue, and just give it a good stir till everything is blended with the whisk. And then here you can see that I am beginning beating my egg whites with a hand mixer. I do this on high. I totally forgot to add the salt and the lemon juice at the beginning, so this is at the 2-minute mark, but I usually do it at the beginning. And if I don't use lemon juice, then I'll use a little bit of cream of tartar. And there you can see that the hand mixer is on high, and so I will go for 4 minutes on high, and then after 4 minutes I will add my gel color. This is Sugar Art gel color. I will add 1 drop per egg white as a basic rule for a nice pastel color. I also used Sugar Art Master Elite in the past before I got these gel colors, but I'm really liking them. And 1 drop per egg white makes a very nice light shade. And then I'll go ahead and mix this up for another 4 minutes until the whites are nice and fluffy and they are just starting to get stiff. And after this second 4-minute mark, you will see that the whites are very pale. This is at 8 minutes, and then we are going to go another 4. And this is what they look like when you are at your 12-minute mark. Sometimes I get this after 10 minutes, but this was 12 minutes for sure. Those egg whites are very stiff, very stable, and they are climbing up those beaters, clumping together, and it is getting to be a fight at this point because they are so stiff. My oven temperature is set to 305, which keeps it close to 300. And then here I am sifting in my dry ingredients into the meringue. I do this in 3 stages and just use a spatula to cut in the dry. I do not do a lot of folding until I get all of the dry ingredients pretty much incorporated. I do not start folding over. I literally just cut it in every single time I do a sift. And then here you will see that all of the dry ingredients are almost cut in, and then I'll really start to do the folding process. And I don't cut through the center of my meringue every single fold. A lot of times I'm just scraping around and folding and just really trying to get underneath. Every so often I will press through the middle fully as I fold, but right now I'm just trying to scrape up all the dry that is tucked underneath that fluffy meringue. And I know when I am starting to get close to the end, because my batter will start to really come together and smooth out and get like taffy. So here you can see that I am scraping through the middle. I just don't do it every single turn, because I found that if I'm too aggressive with my meringue, then I lose a lot of the volume, and my macarons were not really getting full. They were getting very deflated, very wet inside, and not just getting nice and fluffy and full. Here I'm starting to get very close to the end. My batter is getting very stretchy like. It's starting to look like taffy. As I'm going through, it is getting smoother and sticking to the spatula as I lift it. And I did macaronage a little bit less in this video than I normally do. I usually macaronage a little bit longer. So what I ended up having to do is just bang the trays a little bit more than I have to get them to flatten out. But they still came out all right. You can see that it is very stretchy looking, very taffy-like, and that is almost to where I like it. I do not like an effortless flow. I don't like it runny, so it's pouring off the spatula quickly. So I like it to have a little bit of resistance as it is coming off the spatula. And it's just getting more and more like taffy. Every time I lift that spatula, you can see that it has that like stretchy string, like pizza cheese. I'm almost there, but not quite. Now I'm ready to bag everything up, and I already have 2 bags full. It usually takes me about 3 bags for 6 egg whites. I don't like to have my bags super full. I go about 2/3 of the way, and here you can see that my macaronage is a little bit under what I like it. It is really close though, and they worked out about the same as they normally come out for me. Maybe just a little bit more flowy than what you have there, but not too much. And then I'll either tie the bags off with the excess bag, I'll just tie them in a knot, or I will use a little twisty tie to tie them at the end. Now, I don't pipe directly out of the bag. I will put those bags inside another bag that actually has a tip on it. Okay, so here you can see me getting the tip ready. I like to have a tip that has a smaller hole in it. I think it helps pop air bubbles and stuff when the hole isn't too large. And then I will put my batter that's in the bag inside the other bag that I have the tip in. And then I just swap out the inner bag when I run out of batter. So I'll reuse that tip and that bag that tip is in 3 different times. And when I start piping this batch, I can tell that the batter is a little under macronaged, even for me. I always under macronage what you typically see in other videos. I don't have an effortless flow, but this is even less macronage than what I normally do, but it's all right. When I start to bang the macarons down, I will just do it a little bit more than I normally do, and maybe a little bit harder as I'm slamming them down. I do not bang them on the tray. I actually will do it on this silicone mat, as you will see here, and I am going extra hard as I'm slamming them down. And like I said, that's because I really under macronaged more than normal. I just do it until they're flat enough, as though they flattened out on their own. And then I don't worry too much about air bubbles. I did try to push down some of those peaks with a scribe, but honestly, I don't even worry about that. More often than not, I don't even bother. And then I'll just slide the silicone template out from underneath and slide the Teflon onto the baking sheet. I have my Teflon sheets cut in half, and I just do 2 of them and then slide them both onto the pan. I love Teflon. They release so easy. My max will go into the oven on the second lowest level. On the very lowest level is a cast iron pan to hold the heat. And above my macarons, I put a pan to protect them from getting too brown too fast. So they're just sandwiched in between a pan and a cast iron pan. And then they will go for 16 minutes, give or take. Usually 16 is perfect. And then these are hot out of the oven. They are actually still warm, and they are nice and full. And they slide right off that Teflon. If they are baked enough, they will slide right off that Teflon, even when they're hot. These are definitely right out of the oven warm. And there you have it.